أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع.
Is it like saying that Allah needed to create in order to be a creator?
Okay, two things. As we said before, the author said that Allah Jalla wa Ala called himself as the creator, and Allah Jalla wa Ala was the creator for eternal, in the past. So, and he said that Allah Jalla wa Ala did not gain his attribute as a creator because he created or after he created, which means that Allah Jalla wa Ala doesn't need to create in order for himself to be a creator. This is one thing. The other thing, if we confirm this, it doesn't necessarily mean that Allah Jalla wa Ala at one point existed by himself. He never created anything. And then after one point, Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create. Okay? This is the question. So the issue of, is there any series of events? Or we can say, is there any series of creation? So the series of creation from the past and from the future. So once we say that there is a series, the question is there a series of creation or events that existed in the past? And of course, the second part of the question, and that will remain in the future. So, some falasifa say, and some, even the commentator said that some scholars said that we should put a point where Allah Jalla wa Ala never created anything. There was no creation whatsoever. And then Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create. So this is an opinion of some scholars, very few scholars, as well as some theologians and some philosophers. Now, the second opinion says that there is a beginning of the series of events, and there is also an end to it. So, as we said that there is a start where Allah Jalla wa Ala, for example, started to be a creator or started to create, and then there is an end point for this creation. And this is the opinion of Jahmiyyah. Okay? And the first opinion that we mentioned is attributed to some theologians, that Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create and there was no creation before that point, and Allah Jalla wa Ala will continuously create. So it is a series of events that will continue forever. This is the second opinion. We mentioned it as the first opinion of some theologians. And the commentator said that the opinion of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is that Allah Jalla wa Ala always creates. Allah Jalla wa Ala always creates. So we must not put a point where Allah Jalla wa Ala existed without creating anything, and then Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create. Moreover, we should not point a point to the end of creation. So, from the past, neither from the past nor the end, there is a series of events or series of creation. I hope that the three opinions and the difference between the three opinions is clear. Is it clear?
Sheikh, so in another word, the last opinion, the opinion of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, is that Allah is perpetually creating.
In the past and in the future.
Yes, mean perpetually creating. So there was
continuously creating.
We cannot negate that Allah was. We cannot say that there was a point in time where Allah was not creating.
Yes,
that's what we
that is what we are saying. That we cannot put a point before that point that Allah Jalla wa Ala was not creating, and then Allah Jalla wa Ala started to create. Okay, and of course we cannot put a limit to the end of it. Okay, this is the opinion of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Now, the theologians posed a question. They said that if you say that Allah Jalla wa Ala was always creating and Allah Jalla wa Ala will continue to be creating, and there is no point where Allah Jalla wa Ala was not creating, if you say this, it means that creation is eternal in the past. Okay? Because we described that Allah Jalla wa Ala is Al-Awwal. Means He is the first and nothing before Him. So if we describe that Allah Jalla wa Ala is Al-Awwal and nothing before Him, if you say that creation always existed with Allah Jalla wa Ala, and Allah Jalla wa Ala, and there is no start for the creation, then this creation is eternal. And it will not be true that Allah Jalla wa Ala is the Awwal, is the first, and nothing before Him. We say that no, you misunderstood the point. We are not saying that there is an individual creation that has been always there with Allah Jalla wa Ala. If we were to say this, then this individual creation or this specific creation that was always with Allah Jalla wa Ala, then either it is one of the attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala, because nothing is there with Allah Jalla wa Ala all of the time from eternal to eternal, in the past and in the future, except His names and attributes, means except Himself alone Jalla wa Ala. So if we were to say that there is a single creation that existed whenever Allah Jalla wa Ala existed, so this is not a creation, it is one of the attributes of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Or we can say that this creation that has the same qualities as Allah Jalla wa Ala means that this creation ever existed in the past and it will continue in the future, then this is another God. Because Allah, one of His qualities as a God, as a Ilah, that He has no beginning, no end. هو الأول والآخر. He is the first, no one before Him, and He is Al-Akhir, the last, and nothing is after Him, or nothing comes after Him. So if you give this quality to something else, this thing becomes an Ilah, becomes a Lord, becomes a God, and that is not true. And it is the consensus of all people, not all here, all Muslims, of all people, that Allah is the creator and anything other than Allah Jalla wa Ala is a creation. So how can we understand this? Yes, it is very simple. We say that, see, we cannot say that there was a single, or there is a single being, created being, that existed with Allah Jalla wa Ala from eternal to eternal, from eternal in the past and eternal in the future. There is no single being. However, Allah Jalla wa Ala, from eternal in the past, used to create. And Allah Jalla wa Ala never stopped being a creator and never stopped creating. Okay? Never stopped creating. So Allah Jalla wa Ala creates something. So when Allah Jalla wa Ala creates something, that thing existed after it was not in existence. And it will come to an end. Okay? So it will vanish after it was existed. So it is a created being. The key thing, Allah Jalla wa Ala created it after it was not in existence. However, the principle of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is to say that Allah Jalla wa Ala is continuously creating. And Allah Jalla wa Ala doesn't mean that Allah Jalla wa Ala started to be creating. It means that every single creation, every single creation, it has a start and end, or most likely an end in number of cases, but definitely it has a start. It doesn't mean that there is another creation that preceded this creation. So I have a start as a created being. It doesn't mean that there was no creation before me. And the creation before me, it has a start. It doesn't mean that it has no creation that preceded it. And you can go on and on and on. Adam, our father, he is the first of created beings. It doesn't mean that Adam, who has a beginning, existed and there was nothing before him. No, there were many created beings before Adam alayhi salam. So the heavens, the earth, the heavens and the earth, Allah Jalla wa Ala created them. So there was a point where there was no heavens and earth. It doesn't mean that there was no creation before that time. So Allah Jalla wa Ala had other creations before heavens and earth. For example, the throne. The throne, Allah Jalla wa Ala created the arsh, the throne. So the arsh has a starting point as a created being. It doesn't mean that before the arsh there was no other creator. It doesn't mean that before the arsh there was no other creation. And we can go on and on. As you can see, it's very simple. As you can see that every created being, although it has a start, it doesn't mean that it is the start of everything. No, there must be a creation before that. And it will be an endless series of creation from the past. It doesn't mean that the creation or a single creation or created being ever existed in the past eternal. Okay, I hope that the point is clear. And the point is very, very simple. And that's why we say, as the author used the word class, the class of creation, jins al-khalq. Okay, the type of creation. It is an endless, continuous series of events. It doesn't mean that the single part of this class has the same ruling of the class itself. It doesn't mean that at all. The genus, or the type, or the class may have certain qualities the individuals do not have it. And this is an example of that.